Welcome back to the Nafeesa Dangor Show. And what an inspirational talk that I had with Dr. Abi Ali, of course, about this Hunter device that is using to create this holistic analysis on your body and what ailments you can pick up from it. And I think it's something that we need to take advantage of and go and find out, because sometimes we have those underlying ailments that we don't even know exist. And this could possibly help us out in many directions. But talking about that, today I've got a very interesting topic, which I'm so excited about. Let me tell you about it. There's this 6-year-old boy, and he's created an amazing device called the Aduki. Okay, and he's going to talk to us about the Aduki. Let me tell you what his name is. And of course, his dad's also going to be joining us on the line. And they're from the Utyala STEM Institute. And Abdul Razzak is from there. And his 6-year-old son, Abdur Rahmaan, is going to be speaking to us about his innovation. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you so much for joining us on the line this afternoon. I want to also, of course, quickly talk about the Institute. It was established in 2018 with the aim of addressing the gaps that exist between high school and tertiary, as well as between tertiary and industry. Through a combined 20 plus years of experience in engineering, commerce, and audit, the Utyala management team have developed a deep understanding of what is required to develop critical cognitive and independent thinking skills. And this has been from, of course, young people as well. And I find that so phenomenal. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for joining me on the show this afternoon. It's been such a pleasure having the two of you on.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We'd like to thank you for having us on the show as well. Next now for everybody.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Walaikum salam, and it's so nice to see you joining us today. I am so glad, and you're a little innovator, and that's so nice to see that you're so into innovation. Do you enjoy doing that?
Yes.
You do, Abdur Rahmaan? Abdur Rahmaan, tell us, before I go to your daddy about this whole thing, I'm very excited about this Aduki thing. So Abdur Rahmaan, sorry, we're gonna hold you one side here, and you tell us about why did you come up with this idea? Because I know I was watching it and I was saying, wow, this is so nice. Because sometimes you're sitting with a bag of crisp and you've got your cold drink and you're stuck and both hands are busy, and then you're trying to use your remote control and it's not happening. So what made you think of this thing? It's such an amazing little concept that you came up with.
So I first thought of it, and then I took a bowl from the kitchen.
Okay.
Then I took a bowl and a bottle. Then I put the bowl on top of the bottle. Then I drew a picture of it. Then I told my dad it. Then he replanted the bowl.
Oh, wow.
Then
that is so clever.
Like
so did you draw that thing yourself?
Yes.
You really did. Wow, that's so intelligent. I'm so taken by this idea because it's so nice and easy, because now I don't have to use both hands. I can only use one.
Does it make sense?
Abdul Razzak, it's so nice seeing that, there's something like this going on with the Utyala STEM Institute. Talk us through this idea of the Institute and what you do. I had to, of course, do your son first because I was very excited about his concept. It's such a it's such a simplistic thing, but what a phenomenal concept, because the thing is, you never realize, and it's such an apt relatable thing, because when you're sitting at the television, and I know my husband has that avid habit, he sits with a packet of crisp one side, a cold drink in his hand, and then he's trying to reach out for the remote control, and everything's all over the place. So that's such a nice concept that he's come up with. But talk to us about the Institute, and then we'll talk about, of course, conceptualizing innovations like this.
Sure. So in terms of the Utyala STEM Institute, as you mentioned, it was established in 2018 with the objective of bridging the gap between high school and tertiary education, as well as between tertiary and industry. What we identified as professionals in industry is that individuals aren't really trained towards adapting towards to solving real life problems. So where Utyala STEM Institute comes in is we run extramural sessions where we use 4IR technologies to develop critical cognitive and independent thinking skills in individuals. So coming back to innovations like Abdur Rahmaan's, what's really nice is that children think about things very naively. They don't think about things with excess baggage. When, in contrast, we as adults, when we want to develop a solution for a problem, we shoot down many of the very possible and viable solutions because of the previous experiences and the different types of things that we've been through as children going in towards our adult lives. So what Utyala STEM Institute does is it actually provides a platform for young innovators to take the ideas that are in their head and actually bring it into reality. And obviously with technologies that exist now in the fourth industrial revolution, it makes it that much more affordable as well as that much more realizable in terms of transforming innovation into physical objects that has a potential place in the economy and in various markets.
And it's nice to see that you're creating this great holistic environment, because innovation is something important to me, because it actually makes our lives easier. It creates that better environment for us. And what your son has just done, I think, is phenomenal, because it's such a simplistic concept, but the concept is so relatable. And as I was explaining to you, I think everybody has that issue when they're watching television or sitting down and wanting to just have a snack. And then you find yourself like, you're basically all over the place. And he's created this concept. It's just something that I'm so excited about. And how did you come about with the name Abdur Rahmaan?
Because my name is Abdur Rahmaan and my nickname is Edu. So I thought of it and I named it the Aduki.
Yes, because I was like trying to figure it out when I was reading about you and when I was watching your video. And I said, it's such a cool name, Aduki, but I really wanted to know from you, how did you get the name? What a cool name. So you see, we can never forget you, because when we use the Aduki, and I'm hoping to get to use that Aduki real soon, then we'll think about you all the time, because we'll say this is Abdur Rahmaan's concept.
It's your stuff.
Okay.
It's your stuff. Are you excited about it?
Yes.
Very. I can see that. So tell me, has your dad already started using your Aduki besides you?
He's 3D printed lots of the Adukis.
So we're hoping to get an Aduki so we can try it out, right?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
so
Carry on.
As part of what Utyala STEM Institute offers to their members and so forth, what we've done is we actually had the idea of the Aduki protected in terms of having it copyrighted. So what we did was we listed a small little crowdfunding section on our website, and we raised funds to pay for the legal fees to have the Aduki product trademarked and copyrighted in terms of its design and so forth. Once we actually have it registered with the CIPC, we can then start marketing it internationally, in terms of having it mass manufactured and so forth. What's nice about this type of solution or initiative is that all of the proceeds are going to be directly channeled to the inventor. So in the case of them, wanting to further their studies abroad, the financial means would actually be available for them to do so. In addition to that, if they want to, embark on an entrepreneurial venture, the seed capital is there for them to do so as well. So
it's so great, because what's happening is you're literally empowering them from a young age and creating the sustainability from the amazing concepts that they come up with. And I think it's amazing, because the thing is, as you were saying, post-tertiary, once, he reaches a particular age where he'd like to go there and create other innovations, that accessibility is there already. So basically, you're creating this foundation where they build themselves up to such a stage that when they go out there, all the necessary has been put into place already.
Of course, definitely.
So what does this mean for you?
So for myself personally, being a trained mechanical engineer and being very passionate and embedded in terms of innovation, because I mean at the end of the day, innovation is what makes us move forward as human beings. If we
Of
think of
course.
the Stone Age to the Ice Age to the first industrial revolution to where we come now, for us to have progressed as human beings, innovation was key. And it's pointless for us to stop now and think that, you know what, everything has been invented and there isn't any more room for additional innovation. So what it means for me, it's one small step towards actually moving towards progressing humanity, coupled with motivating and encouraging our future generations towards thinking differently, thinking outside of the box, and developing a sustainable future for them to inherit once we pass on.
Let's talk about, besides the 3D printing, there's a lot of things you offer from the Utyala STEM Institute. It's not just taking that concept and, of course, going to do the 3D printing. There's robotics. So let's talk about the different aspects that you offer as far as innovation is concerned.
Sure. So in terms of what we offer at Utyala STEM Institute, we use a blend of all four IR technologies. So to mention a few, we use robotics, coding, augmented reality, artificial intelligence, as well as 3D printing, as we've demonstrated with the Aduki. What we do is we use these technologies as enablers in order to teach kids how to firstly fail fast and learn from those failures towards developing their creativity, developing their problem-solving ability, and ultimately developing their whole brain thinking skills. When we talk about whole brain thinking, it's one of the many skill sets or developmental areas required for the future world of work. So what we've done is we've used 4IR technologies as enablers at Utyala STEM Institute to ultimately develop critical cognitive and independent thinking skills in our future generations to come.
I think it's important that you brought up the concept of failure, because I think a lot of the times people take failure in a bad way. And that's what actually holds them back. And, sometimes I was reading something the other day and it said you probably three-quarter way through to being successful with what you're trying to achieve. And then suddenly at that point you give up. But what you're making them understand is that failure is actually growth. It's teaching you to be able to reflect back on where you went wrong and how much you can better yourself as far as that particular aspect is concerned.
Sure. So, what's quite interesting is that when many people look at new innovations or specific individuals, they only focus on the success of these individuals. Nobody deep dives into what type of process they went through and how many times they actually failed towards getting to where they came to. So, for example, if you take Thomas Edison, who invented the light bulb, it took him 2,000 iterations to actually come to the right product. Now, if he failed on the first or second time, we probably wouldn't have had a light bulb. Now,
Right.
and what we need to understand is that in order for us to progress, we need to fail. But once we do fail, we need to understand that it requires resilience, it requires determination, and it even requires acceptance. That listen, to fail is fine, but let us learn from that failure so that we can move forward in order for us to perfect what we are trying to do.
Most definitely. What about those kids that are out there? How do you actually go and determine what sort of innovations you think are apt enough to be able to look at for your institute?
So I've been blessed to go through the product development process, right? After graduation, I worked at an original equipment manufacturing company, and Alhamdulillah, I've had a patent registered in my name for one of the products that I've designed. So, having gone through that process, I have a deep understanding in terms of what would be determined as a novel or niche product, and what would be able to be eligible to be patented, or what would be eligible to be trademarked, or what would be eligible to be copyrighted. So, from that angle, myself as well as our facilitators, we have the capabilities to identify what type of solution has the potential to be either commercialized or have it patented or trademarked and so forth.
So do you also go out to schools when they have these science fairs and look for something different that a kid has probably innovated?
So in terms of Utyala STEM Institute, we a fairly new company, so it's slightly early days, for us to have a, go through to science fairs and so forth. The other thing is that obviously science fairs have their own mandates and intentions in their own right, and we definitely in the near future would be partnering with these various science fairs. Like one of the more famous ones is the ESCOM Science Expo that
Yes,
gets
that's right.
hosted on an annual basis. So in the near future, we are planning to develop collaborations and partnerships with these type of science fairs where if we identify that a solution has the potential, we can actually bring it into Utyala STEM Institute, have it further developed using 4IR technology enablers, and ultimately have the individual, being the student, benefit from that.
Right. So
Yeah.
as you said earlier, it's about growing the student and creating the sustainability for the student so that when he reaches a certain stage in his life, his innovations have already set him up from young.
Exactly. And what's absolutely nice about innovation is that once you get the first one right, it almost becomes addictive that you want to do the next one and do the next one and do the next one.
Yeah,
It just
right.
works.
And then it's just this whole domino effect of a whole lot of innovations pouring out.
Yes, definitely.
Abdur Rahmaan, have you thought about your next innovation already?
No.
Not yet. Okay, but you must let us know when you do because we want to try these out, right? So we're going to wait for an Aduki and I'm going to go and try your Aduki out. And then when the next time we speak about your other new innovation, I'm going to tell you how good your Aduki is doing for me.
Okay.
Is that a deal? Such a cool 6-year-old, I must say, mashallah. It's so nice to see young people like this being so innovative, creating such an inspiration. I think they're an inspiration to us to say that, you know what, they have these minds where, and I think we need to learn the resilience of not being able to give up, as you were saying, having to find that right space to say that I failed so many times at it, but I'm not going to give up until I get this right. And I think Abdur Rahmaan is one of those products of that.
Sure. So
Uh,
I think also it's absolutely important, in our communities to understand that failure is not the end of things.
that is
Failure
true.
is the stepping stone to better yourself and ultimately better communities. So I think we also need to work hard towards removing that stigma which is associated with failure.
That is so true. I so agree with you. What message would you like to leave our viewers with this afternoon? The one I have is that I think people should definitely get involved with you and what you're doing because I think it's something absolutely phenomenal. It's having to grow those future innovators out there who's going to, of course, make our lives absolutely convenient in many directions.
Sure. So, in terms of the message that I'd like to leave for everyone in general, especially when it comes to innovation, a lot of times people put off a potential solution for a problem that they are experiencing. The thing is, 9 out of 10 times, it's not only you yourself who are experiencing the problem. I mean, like you mentioned right at the beginning of the program, is that you've also experienced an issue where you have a packet of crisp in one hand and a drink in another hand. So if you've identified a potential solution for a problem, it's probably going to be a solution for someone else's problem as well. What I would suggest and recommend to communities is that take it a few steps further towards actually developing a viable solution that has the potential to be marketed or commercialized. Once that's done, that's where first principles or fundamental solutions for community problems actually comes from. And if you look at other countries, in Asia or in the subcontinent, that's how they solve their problems organically. Where
That is so
you
true.
come up with a solution for a problem that you are facing yourself within your community, and people within your community are facing that same problem. That's essentially how we are going to progress as communities and as cities and as a nation in general.
Most definitely. It's called relatable issues. It's something that everybody can relate to, and it's an everyday situation that you find yourself in. So it's about, like you're saying, putting it together and finding the right innovation for it. But I really want to thank you for taking the time out and discussing this with us, because I think it's a phenomenal idea that you've put together. And we're hoping to keep in touch to get in tap with your future developments and your future innovators as well, besides your wonderful 6-year-old here. And we wish you nothing but the best of strength, and, of course, the best of innovation. And we're going to keep watching to see what's happening.
Jazakallah. Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon, and, of course, inspiring us in a very different direction. I'm definitely looking forward to that Aduki. Yeah, you take care of yourself. And Abdur Rahmaan, we want to say congratulations to you for being 6 years old and coming up with something so cool, so much fun. I think I need to go and watch a movie with that Aduki, because now I have the right thing to sit with. So you must keep thinking of some fun things that you can bring up for us. Okay, we're going to look at it and see what else you're going to be doing. But look, I'm going to blow you a kiss. Thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. Assalamu alaikum. Okay, Jazakallah Abdul Razzak. You take care, and we wish you all the best. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
What a wonderful team, father and son from Utyala STEM Institute, making differences throughout as far as innovation is concerned. And I mean, just creating a little thing like that, such a simplistic little innovation, but what it does for a person and how much it helps out is something else. So keep watching them and supporting them, because I think it's a phenomenal thing that they're doing. But we're going to be back with you in a bit with one of our authors.